Welcome back to Bash Bros and episode 11 of Notorious Pro Wrestling, where we play TEW2020 and wonder what would happen if Conor McGregor started his own wrestling company. We are in March week 2 and we are 1 week away from our Your Bollocks pay-per-view. In terms of news happening outside the wrestling world, there hasn't really been that much. For ourselves, the fact there hasn't been that much news kind of makes me think that my original idea a couple of episodes ago, where I would maybe take multiple weeks in between each episode and really come back when there actually is something to talk about, kind of solidifies that idea in my head, but I still have this episode, the next episode, and the episode after, which will be the pay-per-view, to kind of really solidify that idea. News for us though, news for us is that YouTube has extended our deal for both our pay-per-views and and for Wanted. I would have liked maybe a longer extension on Wanted, but for the pay-per-views I'm happy enough with 3 months extension, because Fight TV, which has a pay-per-view, only requires us to have only needs us to be small to put our pay-per-views onto that. So once 3 months is up, or I will probably keep renewing 3 months on the pay-per-view deals. Once we get hit a small size company, then I will probably drop YouTube for pay-per-views and go to Fight TV. Other than that, there's literally no other news, so let's get to Wanted. Okay, so we are back and we are live at the Sunflower Public House in Belfast. Here is the card at the minute. No real issues or anything. It was actually took me, I've kind of started jotting down ideas now as I record, so it's quicker to book a show instead of having to go like, oh, what am I going to do? But I definitely feel like I'm starting to get into my flow when it comes to booking a show. I would love for YouTube to give us an hour and a half so I can maybe do a bit more actually on the main card, but hopefully as our popularity and stuff improves, then YouTube will give us a bit more leeway. So let's run the show. Okay, so in the opening pre-show match, James Storm beats Ken Malmsteen with the 8-second ride. Dirty boy, James. 41 segment overall. This is just to give James a bit of momentum going into the pay-per-view. So James got a 48, which is good, and Malmsteen, he is kind of a jobber at this point, got a 34, so that's okay. Moving on to kind of the throwaway match. Ace Austin beat the Force of Nature, which is going to be his new gimmick. Force of Nature, Timmy Storm, in less than 10 minutes. This is just going to be his thing, the babyface, the Force of Nature, Timmy Force. Ace also got a 53, it's really good from Ace. And then Timmy got a I can't put that in. Timmy got a 43. Overall, that's not bad. For a 10-minute match, that's very, very good. Weirdly good for Ace. He hasn't really performed, like, that's one of the best performances I've seen from any of our performers. So I'm really happy to see that. Afterwards, Jody comes out and says he's going to teach Ace some respect, and the lights flicker spookily during this segment. So this will set... I'm torn. I don't know whether to do Jody versus Ace next week and then have Sonico debut not debut, but then Sonico appear next week and then have Ace versus Sonico at the pay-per-view, or to do like a filler match between these two next week and then have them at the pay-per-view, and that's where Sonico debuts. Because I think you could have like a month or so of Ace kind of freaking out with spooky things happening around him because of Sonico being the Lucha Ghoul. Overall 44, which is not bad. One of our bigger matches then, Filthy Generation beat the Cyborg Ghouls whenever Stevie Boy made created the distraction. 39 is not good. Not good, guys. Gotta do better than that. Junior had 40, Lycos had 54, Faith had 43, and Gervin had 41. No one had the psychology to carry this match this length. Okay then. So this is probably one of the things I need to look out for, which is, although these guys have the stamina to go 20 minutes, they need the psychology there as well, or there needs to be one person there with the psychology to carry the match. in an angle then. So James Storm is backstage, he's kicking down door and he's looking for Rob to fight him, and then Rob blindsides him and smashes another beer bottle over his head, laying him out again. Again, just to build a bit of momentum, not momentum, but to build a bit of heat for their match at the pay-per-view. 52 is a really good segment as well. James Storm is one of our best guys on the mic, so he definitely helped carry that segment. And in the main event, we had the Grizzled Young Vets beat Davey Boy Smith and Easton Reese. So this comes after last week when there was a big brawl between the four guys. During this match, I had Easton Reese walk out on Davey Boy Smith, but we don't find out until next week why. But we know why. It's because Davey Boy Smith is just as guilty as Zach Gibson for Easton Reese losing the P12, or his block of the P12. In terms of performances then, so Zach Gibson 50, really good. James Drake 49, very good. Easton Reese 47, which is better than he has been doing, I think. Usually he's about 43. Davey Boy about 44. Overall 49, which is good. So it's kind of the higher end of the performances there. So very happy with that. And the main event, I suppose, is the contract signing and the reveal of the title between Chris Hero and Doug Williams, with Conor McGregor kind of hosting it and then revealing the title, or what the championship looks like. Really strong. Conor McGregor probably carried this, but I think Chris Hero would have helped as well, being one of our more charismatic guys. So I'm happy, and really, really happy with that. The design of the championship should be in the thumbnail, but I will kind of go to the page, the title page after this. All 53. So that, I'm happy with that. There's a couple of guys who are really starting to kind of pull their weight in terms of performances. James Storm's really starting to show he's really good. Even Kid Lycos has pulled out a couple of 50s in terms of performances, which is good. And the Grizzled Young Vex are just pushing that 49-50 performance area as well. I mean, we know the likes of Chris Hero and Doug Williams can go, so seeing these other guys go, and even Ace Austin pulled out, I think, a 51 tonight. So it's actually really cool to see that these other guys kind of pulling their weight, and I'm starting to get a picture of what the main event scene is going to be for the next couple of months. And there's really no real news to speak of other than Keith Lee is staying with WWE, but we expected that, and Darby Allin's staying with AEW, and we have outshone better companies. So the title then, so this is kind of what the Notorious Pro Wrestling title looks like. This is the welterweight title. I think it's just a generic custom belt that was made by someone. I actually really like the look of it. Kind of like a mix between like the Rev Pro belt and then the New Japan belt. Like with the way the world is on that is kind of how the IWGP is on the New Japan belt. I ended up having to like just scour the internet for like generic custom belts that we could use in this database. So the only one I think I'm not particularly happy about is maybe the women's title, but we'll get to that. We'll maybe do a segment where, like, if I really dislike the design that much, where someone bends the belt or sets it on fire and we get a new one instead. But at the minute, the only title we have so far is the NPW World, and then obviously the Proper 12 tournament title as well. That is it for this week though. So next week then we'll have Easton Reese explain why he walked out on Davey Boy Smith, setting up for their pay-per-view match. We will also have a continuation of the Jody Fleisch and Ace Austin feud. Don't know which way I'll go with it, but there will be a continuation of some sort there. And then also a continuation of the CCK. I keep calling them CCK. Kid Lycos is obviously a part of CCK, but that's not what they are. The Cyborg Wolves will then have a continuation of their feud with the Filthy Generation. But thank you very much again for joining me as always, and I will see you next time on Bash Bros.